Kisha Wallen-DeKinney. I'm a licensed professional counselor and supervisor at the Optimistic Counseling Practice in Houston, Texas, and I'm the owner of optimisticcounseling.com. I love working with young millennial professional women and business owners who are confident self-starters, but sometimes get stuck because of depression, anxiety, or low self-esteem. I really like helping them realize that being strong doesn't mean suffering in silence. It doesn't mean doing everything alone. Sometimes it means knowing when to delegate, when to ask for help, and even when to say no. And I hustle too.
And your whole screen showing me dang, okay.
I been practicing the way I look, you know.
Okay, so even speaking on that, because I'm a brown girl, you're a brown girl.
Yeah.
And it's a big stigma in our community.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And even with being a woman, and I've even experienced this where it's like I have told people like, yeah, I have anxiety. And they like, no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes blah, 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 just try to make all these excuses. And it's like, how could you like shut someone down when they're coming forward? It's not really accepted,
Yeah. I think that we haven't had time. We haven't had time as Black people in general to worry about our mental health. We are literally and figuratively and physically just trying to survive on an everyday, like, minimal survival level. So for some of us, mental health may almost feel like a luxury that we really can't afford to pay attention to, because we're just struggling trying to keep afloat in this uneven playing field that we live in society. So and I think we're so used to being strong and being seen as strong people all the time. We kind of joke, but we call on the power of our ancestors all the time. But I think our resilience kind of gets the best of us sometimes, because we even expect ourselves to be able to go through anything and put up with anything and come out on the other side of anything with no scratches or bruises whatsoever and no help from anyone else. And that's not necessarily true, because if anybody needs mental health care, it's Black people. We have gone through, and we are still going through, a lot for centuries now and on a daily basis. So taking care of ourselves, it has to be something that we give ourselves permission to do, and it has to be something that we give people around us permission to do. Like, you can talk about going to therapy the same way you talk about going to the gym. And if more people made it seem like just cool and regular like that, then it wouldn't be such a big stigma on it.
Okay. What would be, I guess, the hardest lesson thus far, where you are in business? What has been like the toughest lesson that I guess you learned this far?
Well, the toughest lesson that I've learned is, the toughest thing for me to start off with is really just knowing where to start, because I went to school to be a therapist. And when you do that, they only teach you how to be a therapist. They don't teach you how to be a business owner. So trying to develop business skills that are sustainable, long-term, and trying to find examples of that have been kind of difficult in the beginning. But they're out there, and you can do it. You just have to be like a sponge. You need to soak up everything. I always recommend YouTube University if you don't know where to start. But podcasts, YouTube, anybody who has an email list, get on it with the information that you're trying to learn. So if you want to learn marketing or email list building or private practice startup or anything like that, like, get on that stuff so that you can consume as much information as you can. Read books about it, listen to books about it, follow social media accounts, because we all know we're on there. So if you're gonna spend time on there in a productive way, and at least allocate some of that time to following people's accounts that you admire. Like, oh, I like the way this person in my industry that's similar to what I'm doing, I like the way their account is laid out, or I like the content they put out, or I like the whatever it might be that you admire. Learn from them. Don't copy them, but learn from them. Because there's only one you and only one. That is your, I guess. This is me talking like what I've learned, but that's your unique selling point. It's you, the way you deliver your content and your product or your service. That is what separates you from everybody else. So figure out who you are, who your business serves, why you want to serve them, and why that aligns with your purpose, so that whatever you put out comes off as authentic as possible, because your customers want to feel safe with you, and they feel safe with you when they trust, like, and know you. So if you put out something that's just a copy of somebody else, or you're too robotic and you're not down to earth enough for them, they're not going to respond well to that. So you want to put out information and you want to put out in a way that really connects with the people you're trying to help.
I guess, how do you handle like adversity and doubt?
Yes.
Because I feel like sometimes we definitely can get in our own way, but we've had so much, like you say, Black people adversities and things like that, to it's like we start doubting ourselves.
Yeah. Well, doubt. So the fancy therapeutic term for that is called imposter syndrome.
Okay.
So a lot of, especially startup, fresh, brand new small business owners experience what's called imposter syndrome. It makes you feel like, I'm a fake. What if people find out I don't really know what I'm doing? Like, who am I to charge my full fee? Who am I to charge this amount of money and I just started out? Will people really want to pay me for that? Will people really want to pay that amount? I'm not as big as insert here, so how can I possibly think that I'm supposed to be on the same level as them? And talking to yourself like that, having those kind of conversations and thoughts, that's what makes you doubt yourself. But the thing is, everybody starts somewhere. So no, you may not be as big as such and such up there, but they weren't there either. They started probably where you are, or lower, or with less. So you just have to start where you are and understand, and almost put blinders on. Stop comparing yourself to other people and other people's pages and other people's followers, because that's not your lane. That's not your journey. You want to have a journey that you can document and show people, hey, I've been there and I've been through that, and this is where I started, and if I can start off here this small and make it up to here this big, then so can you, because this is not rocket science. So if I can do it, other people can do it too. So just being mindful of when you are doubting yourself and recognizing that, being able to meet that with a positive thought, like, well, what if it does work out? What if I can sell out today? What if I do reach my target audience? And then sometimes I think we also doubt, like, what if it does work out? Sometimes that thought can be scary too. Oh my God, people are gonna hold me to this. How do I keep this up? Just believe in yourself. That, remember that God wouldn't put a gift in you that He didn't want you to put out into the world. And what I have to remind myself when I get scared like that is I have to remember that people cannot see me behind my fear. So if I have to get up in front of people, or if I have to, if I want to launch my website and I put myself at risk and realize, okay, well, people are going to see it and they're going to have opinions. I have to remember that people can't see the real me if I show up scared. It's like a wall that the real me is hiding behind. So your personality and your sense of humor and your wittiness and your quickness with it and your relatability, people are missing that because there's like a wall of fear in front of it. So until you remove that, they won't be able to reach you, and you won't be able to reach them. So for someone like me whose profession is serving people, me helping people in my community is bigger than any doubt I could ever have in myself. And that means more, and that is way more important work than me being self-conscious about what I can and can't do, or how far I think I may or may not be able to go.
Drops mic. Boom. Just being kind of like true to yourself and true to your truth. Mm-hmm. That's how you make the real connection on social media. That's how you gain the followers. That's how you gain people interacting. Because I think everybody keep asking, oh, it's the followers, it's the engagement, it's this. And I'm just like, well, people, I'm not going to buy from an account that I don't know nothing about.
You're not gonna scam me today, Joanne. There's only one scammer we recognize, and that's Joanne, the scammer.
Okay, if there was one mistake you could tell your younger self, so this is obviously something that, you know, it flopped or whatever the case may be, and you could try to avoid, what would you what is that thing, and then what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, first and foremost, you're wasting so much time having low self-esteem and doubting yourself. All the people you're listening to that are trying to convince you to have low self-esteem, they won't even be around to see your come up, your glow up. And you could have been that much more further ahead had you, the way you feel now, had you felt like this back then, man, you'd be further ahead in your career, in your business, and your own personal growth. And when it comes to social media, if you're starting a business on social media, one mistake you don't want to do is just pop and be like, hey, buy my product. Hey y'all, buy my service, it's here for you. Don't do that, because people don't buy things from people or companies that they don't know. You have to provide content. Like, think about the way you use social media. Why do you follow the people that you follow? They're either funny, or they're good at makeup, or they're good at building houses, or they are good at working on cars that you like, or something like that. They give you tips about your hair. They give you tips about dating, or their motivation. They give you something first, or they make you laugh, or whatever. Even if it's just them doing skits or something, that is a form of content. So they're offering something of value that you find valuable. And because of that, you're like, oh, he's funny. And you know what you do? You end up sharing it with somebody, or you end up tagging somebody to it, because you want them to experience that value that you experience with them. So build content into build authentic content, however that may look for your brand, for your service, or for your product. But offer something to people first before you ask them for their money, because you don't have to work for their money as hard. That's how Super sold $1 million of makeup in 90 minutes, because people already knew her. So you get to the point where you give them so much, and they trust you, like, and know you so much, that you, at that point, you can be like, oh, by the way, here's a t-shirt, and they'll buy whatever you sell them, because they know you now, and they trust you now. So that's the order I would go in. Offer content, then sell something.
If there's any advice that you could give, just somebody that's starting up, somebody that's coming up, not necessarily in your industry, just in general, that want to do something or that have big dreams, I guess what's something that you could
give yourself permission to dream that big dream. The more impossible it is, the bigger it is, the more it might scare you. But give yourself permission to think about what your life would look like if that dream came true, what your business would look like, how it would impact your career, your personal, your professional life. Give yourself permission to actually visualize that dream, and then start researching it. See what kind of education it requires. And I don't mean like college, but what kind of education it requires. Whether that's like, do you need to learn more about business? Do you need to perfect your photography skills? Like, how can you educate yourself and put yourself in a position to win and make the least amount of mistakes as possible? You're gonna make them, but you don't wanna just jump in blind. So ask questions, research. If you feel like you might need a business coach one day, think about that, but research that too. Just don't jump into that blind. Every aspect of the business that you want to have, you need to research it and feel like you can say, okay, well, I did my due diligence. Even if it does fall apart, you did all that you can do to make sure that it, that it goes as far as it's supposed to go. Believe in yourself. If you don't believe it, you can't expect anybody else to buy it. So believe in the dream that makes you nervous. If it makes you nervous, that's probably what you're supposed to be doing. But if it makes you nervous, and then after you do it, you feel like proud of yourself that you did it, and you feel like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If you always feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, through the good, bad, and the ugly, then that's the path you're supposed to stay on. And pour whatever it takes into that to get you where you're supposed to be going, to take your business to your dream. Take your dream to the next level, to make it come to life.
Well said, Queen. Okay. Yes, drop the word. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at you can find me at optimisticcounseling.com. I offer free face-to-face therapy consultations that you can schedule at optimisticcounseling.com. I am on Instagram at Optimistic Counseling. I'm on Twitter at Optimistic Kisha. I'm on Facebook at The Optimistic Counseling Practice. And I think that's where I'm at. If you go to optimisticcounseling.com, all of my social media is on there. So come find me. I also have a free ebook called 10 Reasons You Might Feel Some Type of Way, Sis. It's just a quick overview of depression and anxiety symptoms and what you can do about it. That is also on optimisticcounseling.com.
Yes, that's what you can drop though. Yes.